Genesis isn't a science book, and it's not trying to be. It's ancient myth. And until we see it that way, we'll never understand what the Bible's saying about God, creation, and ourselves. Let's talk about it. Grace and peace to the seekers and the saints. I'm Joshua, a Jesus follower and truth seeker. Welcome back to The Truth in Tension. For the past couple centuries, everyone, Christian and skeptic alike, has been treating Genesis as if it's supposed to be a science book. The big debates are things like 6 days of creation, young Earth versus evolution, the flood, local, worldwide, or non-existent, and whether or not dinosaurs walked with humans. Some of you are even watching right now and thinking, well, of course it was this. How could it not have been? Because these are the questions that we ask in the modern day. We want to know the physical origins of things. That fascinates us. It consumes our entire mentality about prehistory. I used to believe that Genesis was a scientific book, that everything it said literally happened the way that it says it happened. I disregarded any of the culture behind it, the stories, the literary devices used, and tried to make it fit my modern understanding of the world. I believed in 6 literal days in which God went from nothing to something, a young earth creation, literal worldwide flood, and dinosaurs walking beside man like the book of Job. I even remember back in 2014 when Ken Ham debated Bill Nye. We all showed up to the screening waiting with bated breath for Ken Ham to destroy Bill Nye, wipe the floor with him, and prove that our religion was true based on science. But the thing is, the ancient peoples didn't have our questions. They weren't trying to write to answer them. And by forcing those modern questions onto ancient documents like Genesis 1-11, we're stripping it of the culturally rich theology that's actually being portrayed. These questions and debates turn Genesis into a battlegrounds for proving or disproving science or whatever else people want to prove. But here's my big claim for the video. Genesis doesn't make scientific claims. It never takes a scientific position, and it never claims to have the answers for the origins of creation in terms of our modern physical ontology. So what does it claim, and how did I get to this point of view? Well, it started when I began learning what the ancient peoples actually believed about the world. How they weren't asking questions of physical origins. They were asking questions of, what does the world mean? Who is the one who made it? And how do we relate to creation and the Creator? What's our place? What's our purpose in this world? Because the world of Genesis, namely Genesis 1-11, is an ancient one. People weren't asking how did DNA evolve. They were asking which God rules the sky. Is the world good or bad? How did these other tribes get here? And why? And the cosmology of Genesis 1-3 demonstrates precisely what I mean by that. As well it should, since it was taken from oral traditions passed down for centuries that can be traced back to stories from the neighboring nations like the Canaanites, Babylonians, and Egyptians. That cosmology looks a little something like this. A flat earth, a dome in the sky holding back waters, the sun, moon, and stars placed inside this solid sky, each moving in a circuit around the earth, and pillars under the earth to hold it up.
And, oh yeah, sea monsters.
Now let's pause a moment here before we go crazy over the poor science that's in the Bible. It's not poor science because it's not science. It's not answering our modern questions, but their ancient ones. It's a theological statement, an ontology that culturally fits what they believed at that time. Genesis told Israel who God is, who they were, and how they interacted with him. God is one, humans are his image, the stand-in for him on earth. If you want to hear a little bit more about the image and what that means, check out this video where I talk about exactly that. Not only does it make these theological claims, but because it is also set up to mimic temple inauguration texts, Genesis 1 even goes so far as to show the cosmos itself as God's dwelling place, God's temple, where he fills it with his glory and sets us, the idols of himself, in this place, in a particular little home he made for us called the Garden of Eden. And this garden would mimic the idea of the Holy of Holies in the temple. So this isn't science, and we need to stop thinking about it like that. It doesn't prove, disprove, I'll agree with, disagree with any scientific model that we have. This is the realm of theology, not the realm of science. The realm of metaphysics, not of physics. It's theology in the form of mythology. And it answers questions of purpose, what John H. Walton calls a functional ontology, not a physical one. It didn't matter how it got here. It mattered why it is here. These stories show humans as the central players in the world. They show a God most high and transcendent above all the other gods. A fundamentally good creation that we have a responsibility to keep and maintain, and a promise of renewal despite our own shortcomings. So what does all of this mean now that we have it? It means that Genesis 1-11 isn't bad science, it's profound theology. And if we look at it that way, then we'll find a lot more truth than trying to fit a square peg into a circle hole. In these chapters, we see that the universe has a creator, and one God that has the power to generate life and all things, whether he did it through evolution or through literal 6 days or some other way entirely. We see that the world is not an accident, but an ordered space and a temple of that Most High God. We see that humans aren't slaves of the gods, but image bearers, idols that have dignity and a vocation to continue God's creative work. And we have a promise that one day, even though the world is broken, it will be restored and renewed as good. So when we can get rid of this idea that Genesis is science, when we can stop forcing our modern questions and debates into the book, we can hear its radical claim. The entire cosmos, the earth, the skies above, the waters below, all of it is God's temple, designed for relationship and flourishing, and it is good. Whether you read it literally or not, the message is the same. Genesis is about who God is, who we are, and how those two interact. And if you think that changes things, wait till you hear what it meant to the original audience when Genesis says that we're made in the image of God. I referenced it earlier, and I tackle that in the next video, which you can see right here. I'll see you there. Till then, go in peace, walk in truth, follow always the law of love.